Most people went to bed that night thinking everything was normal and then woke up to headlines no one expected to see. One moment, she was the fearless, unforgettable face of comedy we had grown up with, and the next, she was gone. There were no public warnings, no dramatic illness updates, and no long goodbye. Just silence. And when the official details finally surfaced, fans realized something even more heartbreaking. She'd been quietly fighting a serious health battle the entire time, one almost no one knew about. The woman who made millions laugh was carrying something heavy behind the scenes, and the truth behind her final months changes the way people see her life forever. The strange thing is that nothing about her career ever hinted at this. When people think of Catherine O'Hara, they don't imagine someone slowing down. They picture energy, chaos, and unforgettable comedy. They remember her racing through the house in Home Alone, screaming for Kevin, or Moira Rose's dramatic wigs, accents, and iconic one-liners in Schitt's Creek. For decades, she felt untouchable, like one of those rare entertainers who would simply always be there. She wasn't fading away or disappearing from Hollywood. If anything, she was enjoying another wave of success with awards, interviews, new projects, and public appearances that made everything seem perfectly normal, healthy, busy, and happy. That's exactly why what happened next shocked everyone so deeply. Reports quietly emerged that she'd been hospitalized after what was described as a brief illness. The wording felt harmless, almost routine, and fans didn't panic. There were no viral hashtags or dramatic speculation. It sounded temporary, like she would rest and return soon. But then, everything changed. News broke that she had passed away, suddenly and without warning. There was no long public battle, no emotional farewell message, and no months of updates leading up to it. The news felt abrupt and unreal, and questions flooded in immediately. What happened? Was she sick? How could someone so full of life be gone so quickly? For a while, there were no clear answers, and the silence only made the mystery heavier. When official confirmation finally came, the details stunned fans even more. Authorities confirmed that her passing was caused by a pulmonary embolism, a blood clot that travels to the lungs and often strikes without much warning. But that wasn't the full story. Reports also revealed that she had been privately dealing with rectal cancer, a battle she never publicly disclosed. She didn't share it with fans, didn't turn it into headlines, and didn't seek sympathy. She kept it completely out of the spotlight. That revelation changed everything, because it meant that while she was filming, appearing in interviews, and continuing her career, she was quietly fighting something serious behind the scenes. What made this even more emotional was how she chose to handle it. Most celebrities step back when facing serious health struggles. Projects slow down, appearances stop, and statements are released. But with her, none of that happened. She kept working, kept showing up, and kept delivering the same energy audiences expected. Reports suggest she didn't want her career defined by illness and didn't want public sympathy to overshadow her work. Instead, she handled everything privately and on her own terms. It was a quiet kind of strength that felt deeply personal and completely in line with who she was. Carrying that kind of burden while still making the world laugh takes an extraordinary level of resilience. When the news became public, Hollywood's reaction was immediate and emotional. It wasn't just sadness, it was disbelief. Co-stars, comedians, and actors who grew up watching her shared stories about her warmth, her generosity, and her ability to lift the mood of an entire set. Her Schitt's Creek cast spoke openly about how much heart she brought to the show, while fans revisited her interviews, performances, and most iconic scenes. Clips flooded social media, not out of nostalgia, but because people weren't ready to let her go. The response made it clear that she wasn't just respected, she was deeply loved. What surprised many fans even more was how private her final goodbye was. There was no large public memorial or televised service. Instead, her farewell was quiet and family-focused. She was cremated without spectacle, reflecting the same low-key nature she carried throughout her life despite decades of fame. It felt fitting, almost poetic, that even in her final moments, she avoided the spotlight. She was never someone who chased attention, and her goodbye mirrored that perfectly. Looking back at her career now, the scale of her legacy is impossible to ignore. Over 5 decades, she shaped comedy across generations, starring in classic films, cult favorites, and award-winning television. Home Alone remains a holiday tradition, while Schitt's Creek became one of the most beloved shows of its era. Moira Rose alone turned into a cultural phenomenon, inspiring quotes, memes, and even fashion tributes.
Younger actors cite her as an influence, comedians study her timing, and new fans continue discovering her work every year. That kind of impact doesn't fade, and it can't be manufactured. What stays with people the most isn't just her talent or awards, but the quiet strength she carried behind the scenes. She didn't want her illness to define her or shift the focus away from what she loved most. She simply wanted to keep making people laugh. That choice makes her story feel deeply human and reminds us that even those who seem larger than life are often fighting battles we never see. In the end, legends like her don't truly disappear. Every holiday season, someone rewatches Home Alone. Every year, someone new discovers Schitt's Creek. Every time a Moira Rose quote makes someone laugh, her presence lives on. While her final chapter was quiet, her impact is anything but. And maybe that's the most powerful legacy of all. If one of her roles ever made you laugh when you needed it most, take a moment to appreciate that joy. Rewatch a scene, share a memory, and celebrate the laughter she gave the world. Because people like Catherine O'Hara don't come around often, and when they do, they leave a mark that never really fades.